Straight ahead on the Daily O, Cowboy football continued in their dominance at Boone Pickens Stadium. We'll have that recap for you. The Major League Baseball divisional playoff round has been officially set and starts tomorrow night. Find out which teams continue to move on. Plus, the Oklahoma State Cowgirls softball team continues to stay strong throughout the fall ball season, and you're going to find out how they fared this weekend. All this and more coming up on the Daily O. Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to the Daily O. I'm Grayson Singleton. Thank you for joining us tonight. Cowboy football continues their season dominance, tacking on another win to their quest for an unbeaten season, this time against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. They won 41-31, and our own Derek Mendez has the recap from Saturday's action.
After returning to Boone Pickens Stadium for an intense first home conference game, the Oklahoma State Cowboys managed to slip past the Texas Tech Red Raiders Saturday afternoon, winning 41-31. While the Cowboys' defense may not have been the strongest, head coach Mike Gundy emphasized how important of a role the team's toughness and grit plays in games like these.
Fortunately, we've got enough veteran guys that get it. I think we're in really good condition. As I said earlier, they had some gas in the tank. And we've been in these battles before, and in the end, there wasn't any panic. Guys had a clear mind. They were able to listen and absorb information. There was no panic, and in that situation, gives you the best chance.
Tech came out fast-paced and opened the scoring early in the first quarter when Baron Morden threw one deep to Gerald Bradley for a 27-yard touchdown. It didn't take long for the Cowboys to answer back when Spencer Sanders found an open Bryson Green, who skipped past the tackle and eventually got pulled down over the end zone. Sanders continued to control the offense and found an opening to run 14 yards for a touchdown, giving the Cowboys their first lead. After Tech went on a scoring run in the second quarter, the Cowboys offense seemed to get back into the rhythm when Sanders hurled one to Bryson Green inside Tech's 10-yard line for a gain of 28 yards. However, the Red Raiders denied the Cowboys another touchdown and would go into halftime leading 24-20. The changes that would come in the second half is what linebacker Mason Cobb believed helped Oklahoma State shut down Tech in the second half.
Oh yeah, I'm sure y'all felt it. Out there, the energy from the defense. That second half was, black and white from the first half. So, it felt good to come out there and play our game.
An uneventful third quarter led to a nerve-wracking fourth quarter, and with under 3 minutes left, Dominic Richardson received a handoff from Sanders and bulldozed his way into the end zone to put the nail on the coffin and secure the win for the Cowboys. Coming up next for the Cowboys, they will be facing the Texas Christian University Horned Frogs at Amon G. Carter Stadium Saturday, October 15th, with kickoff scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Reporting from Boone Pickens Stadium, I'm Derek Mendez.
Thank you, Derek. Taking a quick look into the Associated Press Top 25 rankings for this week, the Cowboys continue to be the highest-ranking team amongst the Big 12 squads, falling down one spot to number 8 in this week's standings. Some notable jumps in the rankings, however, come from both UCLA and Mississippi State. Both teams moved up 7 spots as the Bruins now sit at number 11 and the Bulldogs at number 16. While one Pac-12 and one SEC program make a giant leap in the rankings, the same can be said for teams who did the exact opposite, taking a plunge in the polls. The Utah Utes fall down 9 spots following their loss to the Bruins, as well as the Kentucky Wildcats dropping to 24 after their loss to Spencer Rattler and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Following the Cowboys' win over the Texas Tech Red Raiders, OSU kicker Tanner Brown was awarded the Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week earlier this afternoon. Brown led all players in scoring 15 points for Oklahoma State, matching his career high, going a perfect 4 for 4 on his field goal attempts while converting on all of his extra points. The California native continues to remain perfect on the season, going 8 for 8 on field goal attempts, as well as knocking in, get this, 62 consecutive point-after touchdowns. This recognition makes him the third time a Cowboy has been honored as the Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week. All right, coming up, we're going to take a look into your national headlines. One NFL coach was shown the door early on in the season, and the Stillwater Pioneers continue to keep rolling. Don't go anywhere. The Daily O will be right back.
I'm Kristen Hawkins. I went to Oklahoma State University here in Stillwater in '99 to 2004. I've always felt like Stillwater needed more family-friendly things to do, and we have opened up AR Workshop. We do everything from knitting blankets that can be done in a 3-hour class. We create doormats and porch signs, the Christmas wreaths with our yarn that we use for the blankets. We also do, we just started a new project for gnomes. We've done pumpkins during the fall, but our big thing that we do here are interior signs. Our designs are extremely unique to AR Workshop. Customers come in, everything is here for them to do. They create everything. They can be as hands-on as they want. They came in here to relax and have fun, and that they are proud of their project that they've made.
Our state is one of the most beautiful and unique states in the USA. With diverse geographies, the historic Route 66, unforgettable restaurants, and some of the greatest people on the planet. With so much to see and so much to do, living in Oklahoma means one of the best vacation spots is right in our own backyard. Doesn't this story need to be told? As filmmakers and photographers based right here in Oklahoma, we thought so. And hey, who doesn't like a good road trip? So, we packed up our cameras, teamed up with Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell and the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department, and that's how this series was born. We want to show you why traveling within the great state of Oklahoma is a great idea. So come join us for thousands of miles over the next year, from Broken Bow to Black Mesa. This is the Oklahoma Road Trip.
Well, how I got started was my daughter said, "Mama, why don't we rent a booth at the Quarter Horse Show?" And it was very, very good because, you know, when you're giving your jelly away for free, people really do love it. But when you ask them to pay for it, then that's a true test. What makes my product so unique is the Scotch bonnet pepper. And the Scotch bonnet is a Jamaican pepper. And I had lived in Montego Bay, Jamaica for 4 years. So I learned how to handle the pepper and how to cook with it. I always say, you don't do this on your own. I mean, you have so many people that help you along the way. For me and for many of us, that's my name on that jar, and it better be good.
Grayson Singleton back with you on this Monday edition of the Daily O. Let's take a dive into some national headlines from throughout this weekend. And earlier this morning, breaking news coming out of Carolina. The Panthers announced the dismissal of head coach Matt Rhule after only 5 games into the season. Rhule, who previously coached in the Big 12 for the Baylor Bears, made the transition into the NFL coaching ranks in 2020, amassing a not-so-great record of 11-27. In the meantime, defensive passing game coordinator and secondary coach Steve Wilks will step in as the interim head coach. Wilks previously spent 1 year as the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals in 2017. The MLB Divisional Series matches have been officially set. Kicking things off in the American League, the Cleveland Guardians will travel east to the Bronx to face off against Aaron Judge and my New York Yankees. The second matchup in the AL is between two foes out west. The Seattle Mariners will travel to Houston to take on the 1 seed Houston Astros and Yordan Alvarez. Both games are set to begin Tuesday evening. Moving over to the National League with 2 division rivalries, it's a SoCal Classic. 2 high-powered offenses, the San Diego Padres, will go up the Pacific Surfliner Amtrak to L.A. They're going to take on the 1 seed Dodgers, and then going to the East Coast, an NL East showdown between the Philadelphia Phillies and the defending World Series champion Atlanta Braves. Those matchups are to begin on Wednesday. The National Football League and the NFL Players Association have agreed to update the league's concussion protocol policies. Changes to the policy were sparked when Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa had to leave the field after a hit 2 weeks ago. He passed a concussion check in the locker room and then returned to the game after halftime. The team's coach explained he suffered a lower back injury, but fans and others were concerned by the awkward way he walked off the field. 4 days later, he was diagnosed with another concussion in another game. Current regulations require players to stay out of games they are removed from if they exhibit what is called gross motor instability. The new protocol forbids them to return from play if they are unable to get up from an injury for any reason. This new policy will be implemented immediately. Moving back into more Stillwater news, the Pioneers continue rolling as their undefeated season is still alive, defeating the Sand Springs Sandites 58-7. Pioneer Media Tyler Tripodi has the recap.
You join us here in Sand Springs as the Stillwater Pioneers have just defeated the Sand Springs Sandites 58-7. Now the story of the game is Heston Thompson with 4 touchdowns, but past that, this game means a lot for the Stillwater Pioneers as head coach Tucker Barnard recorded his 100th career win.
With that win, the Pioneers improved to 6-0 on the season and 3-0 in district play. Coach Barnard had this to say when asked about what 100 wins means to him.
No, it's neat, man. I'm excited. It's one of those landmarks, and really happy with the kids that I've got to coach here and the guys that I work with. Man, I've got great help, great assistant coaches that do an outstanding job, and it's been a lot of fun.
Offensive coordinator Chad Kaywood was also available for comment and talked about Coach Barnard reaching Win 100 and why he's not surprised at all that he was able to accomplish it.
It's a big win, and he's done a good job since he got here with the program, and I think this is year 12, and we've consistently got better every year, and a lot of it has to do a testament with the way he leads the program and in off season and into the season, and honestly is keeping coaching coaches and coaching players, and the way he manages things does a good job, and so it doesn't surprise me we're victory 100 12 years in and halfway into that 12th year.
Star quarterback Gage Gundy also added his thoughts as to why Coach Barnard has been so successful and what makes him special as a coach and a person.
Relationships with his players. He seems like he builds up one-on-one relationships and everybody feels like really welcomed into the program, and he spends a lot of time with us overall. So I would say he really cares for each and every one of the players.
Coach Kaywood did add a reminder that while he's happy about tonight's win, this season is far from over, and the Pioneers have their sights set on bigger things.
Well, we've got a goal, and it's to win every week. We want to be 1-0, and you can't win them all unless you win this one type deal is what we talk about. And our goal is to have a chance at the end to win a championship. And we don't shy away from it, but we also talk about winning one game at a time, and that's his leadership and what we do.
After coming out of Sand Springs with a 58-7 victory, the Pioneers will head back to Stillwater for their game against Bartlesville on Thursday, as the Pioneers and Coach Barnard look to continue the march towards the playoffs.
Reporting from Sand Springs, Tyler Tripodi, Pioneer Media.
Thank you, Tyler. The Pioneers will continue to keep their hot streak rolling this Thursday as they take on the Bartlesville Bruins here in Stillwater. It would be their final home game of the season, and kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Coming up when the Daily O returns, we're going to talk about the Cowgirls in the Illini Women's Invitational as well as Cowboy football. The Daily O will return in a moment.
Pecans are staple to Oklahoma. In fact, many of our native pecans come from trees that are older than Oklahoma statehood.
My father's the one that got us started into the pecan picking. I was probably 10 or 12 years old, and we started off with one little mechanical picker that you pull behind a four-wheeler. Then we'd go home at night and we'd clean them on a TV tray. I guess watching my dad work hard when we were young, and people started trusting him and getting more and more groves, we just kept growing.
Being a relatively new and fresh company, we get to sit in the same room with people who have been a part of the Oklahoma economy for decades.
It's opened a lot of doors. It's gave us quite a bit of exposure, and I think people, will take a small company like us a little more serious. We're just going to continue growing as long as our community lets us and our customers keep on buying, and we'll see where it takes us.
We would design something, it was set on the counter, and people was either, if enough of them said, this isn't it never made to the line. Dad was excited that they're all original. They were all designed on Mom's kitchen table, and it gets in your blood after a while.
We're very happy that Pamela and Michael have taken over the business and kept the family going.
We took the business over in 2017. When we found that it was available, we wanted to keep the legacy of family alive, but it was also incredible products that deserved to be a part of Made in Oklahoma's story. We were a part of Made in Oklahoma years ago, and so it kind of grew as Made in Oklahoma grew.
Oklahoma is ingrained into everything that we did. We've been here most of our life. That's what we entailed our whole business on, was the Oklahoma homegrown feeling.
Over the years, we kind of realized that you can get ribs anywhere, you can get a steak anywhere, but you can't always get a Mountain View hot link like ours. So we really decided to focus on that niche and realized we had something really special. So that's when we started focusing more on the hot links, but it's still the same family recipe they were making all those years ago. For us, many of our people that work here have been with us for years and decades. So whereas machines kind of break down over time, the people just get better. And it shows in the products we produce. When you buy a Mountain View product, not only is it going to taste dynamite, but you're also feeding Oklahomans. You're helping employ Oklahomans, and you're helping to fund the state's economy. So what's better than that?
Grayson Singleton back with you on this Monday edition of the Daily O. While Cowboy football had a successful weekend, the same could be said for Cowgirls softball on Sunday. The Cowgirls played twice at the stadium, starting things off against the Central Arkansas Bears. Our own Ali Irizarry has more.
The great weather at Cowgirls Stadium translated to the team's domination in their fifth scrimmage, defeating the Central Arkansas Bears 15-3. While the Bears got on the scoreboard first, Kylie Naomi gave the Cowgirls their first 2 runs with a homer. Kelly Maxwell showed why she got the 2022 Big 12 Pitcher of the Year award by shutting down the Bears early on. The Cowgirls added 2 more runs in the 6th inning thanks to an RBI single from Rachel Becker and another one from Caitlin Carwile. Oklahoma State kept pouring it on Central Arkansas after Talon Edwards bombed one out of right field for a 3-run home run. The offense continued to strive, and Kylie Naomi hit one that bounced over the shortstop and third baseman's head out to left field to bring in Angelina Craig. Taylor Tuck got involved in ding one that snuck past the Bears' first baseman, which brought in another run for the Cowgirls. The Bears rotated 3 different pitchers and were unable to subdue the Cowgirls. Edwards again was able to bring in a run with a sacrifice fly to left field. In the closing innings, Oklahoma State continued to pile on the runs with a total of 15 to end the game, while Central Arkansas were only able to tack on a total of 3. Reporting for Ocali TV, I'm Ali Irizarry.
Thanks, Allie. The Cowgirls will finish off their fall ball season here at Cowgirls Stadium as the Seminole State Trojans come to town next Tuesday. First pitch set for 5 p.m. Back to more Oklahoma State athletics. Cowgirl golf is back in action, looking for their first victory of the young season. The Cowgirls travel east to the Illini Women's Invitational at Medina Country Club in Illinois. Oklahoma State comes into this placing 3rd in each of the first 2 events of the fall schedule. Notable players to watch for on OSU include Madison Hilson Tortured and Han Swan Yu Tortured comes into this following a solid performance at the Schooner Fall Classic, finishing tied for 20th place, going an even par. On the other side, Yu continues her recent success, finishing in the top 10 in 5 of her last 9 tournaments, including tying for 6th at the Carmel Cup at the beginning of the fall 2022 schedule. Now, to stay up to date on the Cowgirls, on how the Cowgirls fare, make sure to follow Oklahoma State Athletics on social media or continue to tune in to our show, The Daily O, as we will keep you covered on all things OSU athletics. Cowboy golf is also on the move today, this time traveling to the Sunshine State for the Jackson T. Stevens Cup at the Seminole Golf Club. The Cowboys come into this tournament finishing 3rd place at the Ben Hogan Collegiate Invitational. OSU will be rolling out a starting lineup of juniors Jonas Bumgarner and Bo Jin, as well as seniors Dylan Stewart and Hazen Newman, and fifth-year Leo Oyo. To stay up to date on how the Cowgirls and the Cowboys fare, again, follow Oklahoma State Athletics on social media and continue to be plugged in to the Daily O. All right, one last break coming up next. Let's turn back the clocks and let's see what happened on this day in sports history, as well as one more quick look into your national headlines. Don't go away. Daily O will be right back.
Tucked away in the city of Ripley, Oklahoma, the award-winning Washington Irving Trail Museum showcases the heritage and history of Payne County. This museum holds antiques, treasures, and artifacts that one cannot find at any other museum. With hundreds of historical antiques that display OSU history, along with Native American history, the museum has it all. The museum is well known for their book containing pictures and news articles about Frank Eaton, the original Pistol Pete. Dale Kluber opened Washington Irving Trail Museum in 1994 with his collection of historical mementos. This museum is filled from wall to wall with Oklahoman history. The Washington Irving Trail Museum is 15 minutes outside of Stillwater. Experience history at one of Oklahoma's hidden gems.
A Golf Digest 5-star course, Best New Public Course won an Open in 1994, and a top 100 public golf course in America since 2003. This course, just 5 miles outside of Stillwater, Oklahoma on Highway 51, is named after one of the influential golf pioneers this game has known.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek's a modern golf course.
The beauty of the course is in large part to the elements of the grounds. The Georgia fairway is transformed from its original forested landscape. Georgia was used to combat the tough winters so golfers could play year-round. The greens are large and sloping bent grass hills. The low-cut bent grass can be similar to glass during peak championship conditions. The bunkers surrounding most holes remind golfers of a white beach rather than a deep hazard. Lake Louise, surrounded by the second 9, completes the perfect finishing hole. The long par 72 course perfectly combines nature with the difficulty of a championship course. Karsten's added challenge is the Oklahoma wind.
So there aren't any other schools in the country that have that same commitment to college golf as we do here at Oklahoma State.
But if you're going to play at the highest level, you've got to be able to focus on where you want to go. And Karsten Creek does a good job of training you to do that, because if you don't, you're going to have a long day. And that's a great legacy that Coach Holder left, because that's the way he coached.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of the Daily O. Grayson Singleton here with you. It's time to turn back the clocks and let's take a look at what happened on this day in sports history. 1964. The Summer Olympic Games took place in Tokyo, Japan. Many fans may be asking, why was the Summer Olympic Games scheduled in October? Well, the Olympic Committee scheduled it this way to help avoid the summer heat of Japan. Moving the clocks back a little bit further, in 1920, history was made in postseason baseball. Now that's more like it. Then named the Cleveland Indians, Elmer Smith cranks the first grand slam in World Series history against the Brooklyn Robins. Smith and the Indians would go on to win the pennant with a final score of 5-2. All right, let's throw some party hats on and wish a few athletes happy birthday. Happy 53rd birthday to former NFL quarterback Brett Favre. The 20-year vet added quite the career accolades, amassing 3 MVP awards for the Green Bay Packers while also taking home a Lombardi Trophy in 1996. Also, happy birthday to one of the greatest to drive on the racetrack, Dale Earnhardt Jr. The Hall of Fame driver competed in over 600 career races, being crowned the Busch Series champion in back-to-back years in 1998 and 1999. Now, before we let you go, it's time to take a quick dive and a last dive into our national headlines in the sports world, because it is a busy day. Let's start with a mid-season change at the coaching ranks. Carolina Panthers announced the dismissal of head coach Matt Rhule. Rhule, who previously coached in the Big 12 for the Baylor Bears, transitioned to the NFL coaching ranks in 2020 and accumulated a record of 11-27. Not good. In the meantime, defensive passing game coordinator and secondary coach Steve Wilks will step in as the interim head coach. Wilks previously spent 1 year as the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals in 2017. Also being fired is Panthers defensive coordinator Phil Snow. To Major League Baseball, the divisional series matches have been officially set. In the AL, the Guardians go to the Bronx to take on Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees, and the Seattle Mariners will travel to H-Town to take on Yordan Alvarez and the 1-seed Houston Astros. Both games and those series are set to begin Tuesday evening. In the National League, 2 divisional rivalries will make up the NLDS. The San Diego Padres will take a trip up to LA to take on the 1-seed Dodgers, and an NL East showdown as the Philadelphia Phillies look to knock off the defending World Series champion Atlanta Braves, and those series are set to begin on Wednesday. The NFL and the NFL Players Association have agreed to update the league's concussion protocol. Changes to the policy were sparked when Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa had to leave the field after a hit 2 weeks ago against the Buffalo Bills. Passed concussion protocol in the locker room and then returned to the game after halftime, but cited that the injury stemmed from a lower back injury before he was diagnosed with a concussion 4 days later. New concussion protocols forbid players to return to play if they are unable to get up from an injury for any reason. This rule will be implemented immediately. All right, that'll do it for our show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure to tune in tomorrow as the Daily O will be anchored by Emma Lightfoot, and she will keep you updated on everything happening in the sports world. For the Daily O, I'm Grayson Singleton. Have a good night, everybody.
Hi, I'm Shauna here at Where the Buffalo Roam in beautiful downtown Pawnee, Oklahoma. We have a lot of beautiful and unique items for sale in the store, but our number one items are Navajo jewelry, Pendleton blankets, and Consuela. It's a great place to shop, a beautiful downtown, so come see us in Pawnee, Oklahoma.
Ace in the Bowl salsa started many, many years ago. I was trying to find a recipe to take to a family gathering, and so I started messing around with different recipes, and I took a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and I came up with a salsa that is truly unique. Ace in the Bowl salsa is an olive oil based salsa with tomatoes, green chilies, green onions, and black olives. There's no sugar added, it's gluten free, low calorie, low carb, low fat, low sodium. So it's a very, very, very good alternative to any snack you may want. As of right now, I'm just looking to be in Oklahoma and having a successful business within the state. If my grandkids could ever take it over when they're old enough, that would be my dream.
My name's Kayla. I've been here since the beginning, so 4 years. Scratch is more focused on farm and mostly made in Oklahoma products, keeping it local. Sustainability is our biggest thing. That's one of the reasons why this place opened.
I've been the chef here at Scratch for 2.5 years. Started here as a line cook,
Our food and drinks are a bit separate entities almost inside the restaurant. So the food is now up to 85% of the products we bring in are raised or grown locally. It's all based off of things that I grew up eating in southern Oklahoma, the things my grandparents ate.
Fresh food, clean food, organic food, sustainability, that's all of our thing. From front of house to back of house, we're able to maintain both with freshness. But made in Oklahoma means we get it straight from the farms that are 20, 30 minutes, another little county away. We get it straight from them.